Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa, an expert at nothing, which provides me with all the skills needed to report on issues in the news. This is a conservative-leaning podcast, but I do take in both sides of an issue. I apologize, I still have my cold, or whatever it is I have, though I am feeling a little bit better today. I do take in the facts, and I will always point towards a conservative viewpoint on why that action is good, or why that action might not be so good. And I do that. I don't agree with everything Republicans do, and I don't disagree with everything Democrats do. So I think I'm pretty fair with that. Today is April 6th. This is episode 47, and welcome all my new viewers and subscribers. I thank you all. Please leave comments. It's important to the Matrix that you leave comments. You could agree with me, you could not agree with me, you could say I'm wrong, I'm right, or you're right on, as I always am, Bob in New York. But leave comments, like, and subscribe. All right. Today I'm going to speak on Iran and our media. Democrats on crime, Democrats on illegals, Democrats on the shutdown. These are going to be quick little comments. The Iranian war in general. Representative Presley from, she's a Democrat out of Massachusetts, made an interesting comment that I will discuss. And also we had a few Democratic representatives visit Cuba and made comments about what the U.S. should be doing. So let's just jump right into it. I have my coffee here today. I'm going to try to keep this to 30 minutes, folks. Can't guarantee it because I get sidetracked. You know, that little rubber ball rolls across the floor and I just then zoom after it. All right. In the news, U.S. airmen rescued over the weekend to the demise of CNN, CBS, ABC, NBC, NPR, MS Now, MSN, and other liberal Iran supporting outlets who took the stance of how, and have been taking the stance of how weak America is and how the extreme hype of the Iranian military capabilities. And I'm not saying that Iran did not have or still doesn't have the ability to inflict pain. They can. But the idea where the media said we should not have been there and, you know, we hit a hornet's nest, that has not been the fact. Iran has threatened not only America, but Europe, Israel, its neighbors for 47 years. And the Democrats today, they seem just fine with having a strong Iran and possibly even having a nuclear Iran. And of their funding of terrorist proxies around the world. That the Democrats just don't seem that was a good enough reason for President Trump to do what he did. Now, in saying all this, the Democrats, according to some polls, have been showing a much better more people are agreeing with Democrats on the on their hesitation of fighting, of having this war. But I'm looking at these polls, and it really is skewed. They're asking basically Democrats what Democrats think about it, and just by going by the general election for Trump or Harris, you could see that there is a pretty even divide. So anything Trump will do or does, you're going to get a 48% of the people in the United States saying Trump is bad, Trump is wrong, Trump is this, Trump is that. So the polling then is being used in that sense to try to say that the Democrats, can win in 2026 and 2028. And they're just asking questions that skew a particular answer, the pollsters. I think that the media has been very easy on the Democrats, has been not asking the tough questions. Now, some have. I will say this. In some instances, your CNN has sometimes asked, a question that, a Democrat would hate to have tossed at them at this time about the shutdown. I'll discuss that a little bit later. About the war, about the attitudes that they have. So I'm just saying there should be no one in the United States that doesn't understand why, Trump did what he did. Part of the reason was that if Israel would have attacked them alone, the first people they would have shot at would be America. Our assets in the Middle East, our assets maybe even on the European continent. So not being part of it, I think the intelligence was, if we do it with Israel or we help Israel with it, we have a good chance of toppling the regime. And I didn't like the idea that, where, in the beginning, we're not looking for a regime change. Of course we're looking for a regime change. We killed the Ayatollah. We killed almost every top official in the government. That's a big thing. That's a big, big thing. You can't tell me that that's not regime change. All I say is it was about time, and they finally are dealing with a president that said no more talking. We're not doing it. We're not appeasing you. I'm not giving you billions. We're going to take you at your word that you were going to destroy us and Israel and our allies in the Middle East. We believe you. So now we're going to strike and strike you hard. Well, we see how that's been working out. You couldn't have had a more disappointed liberal media this weekend when we rescued our airmen, and how they all ran and said, look, they shot one of our airplanes down. This is the end. We lost the war. It's mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. We can't even rescue a downed airman. Oh, they're probably this. That the Iranians still have the capability of wiping out our air force. No, they don't. I'm not saying they got lucky in the shot, but if you shoot enough things into the air, you're bound to hit something. And it's just like, I said before, even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. We haven't heard what had happened with the aircraft. Did it have a engine failure? Was it hit? And it could be hit. They had rocketry there that could strike an F-15. F-15 is not the newest generation of aircraft. It's a great airplane, but it's vulnerable. Just like anything, it's vulnerable. Then they're saying, look, we shot down other airplanes that were attempting to rescue and stuff. I expect to hear all this. And, is it true? Is it not true? I don't trust anything coming out of Iran. Never have. And I trust even less of what I'm hearing from your CNNs, the Beast, any of these uber liberal, anything to try to make America look weak and feeble. That's their goal. That's their go-to, the media. So, all right, 10 minutes of that. I think that's enough with that. Going to kick Democrats today. Democrats are on the record as stating that illegal criminals pose no threat to our citizens, and only a small percentage of these migrants have caused random crimes. You have people like Schumer and Pelosi and Jeffries, Schiff, that all say that's the crimes committed by these people are minuscule compared to the people that are here looking for freedom. And while I will say that they're probably right in that statement, but they shouldn't be here. And if they weren't here, these murders and crimes would not have happened. Can we also admit that? And by the Democrats trying to protect, by wanting to defund and stop ICE from deportating 1.6 million people already on the list to go, that have been vetted and gone through the legal system, and to have the Democrats have the goal to say, no, that should stop. All deportation should stop. These are the things that are not going to get them elected. Because, yes, the Iranian war has caused a real upward trend in costs. We haven't even started to see the upward trend in cost in delivery of our foods and stuff yet, which is coming. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Small price to pay to get rid of a nuclear state that has threatened the world. I'm sorry, it's cheap. So, but to have the Democrats say that, the crime is, kind of being overblown, and we shouldn't be focusing on that as we have people thrown in front of trains, people run over, stores robbed. illegal gangs in our country causing major problems. I don't see how the Democrats can get away with saying that, hey, these illegals are a problem, and coming into this country illegally is a problem. It's a crime. Now, I can understand them saying people that were given TPS and people that were given a certain status. Those aren't the people that are being rounded up. It's people that can't prove that they're here legally. And, are innocent people going to be caught up in all this? Yes. Innocent people get caught up in crimes all the time. And since immigration is a civil matter, we don't provide lawyers for civil matters. They have to get their own lawyer. And if a group wants to collect money to give these people access to the legal avenues, that's fine. That's fine. Let them. I have no problem with that. But they're still being detained. And, the other podcast I had the other day spoke about, collateral damage. They call it collateral damage. I go into a house to arrest a known person on my list that shouldn't be here. I know he lives there. And there's 4 illegals there that are not on my list of people that are immediate deportation, but they're not on a list as being even registered to be in the United States or acknowledged by the United States that they're in our country. They get caught too, and they go, well, they're not going after the worst of the worst. Yeah, we're going after the worst of the worst, but if we catch other people that are criminals, what do you do? Just let them go? Makes no sense. So, of course, we're going to go after these people. And the Democrats had made it so that they're hiding these people in plain sight. There's no way for us to know who's here legally and not legally unless we stop them, ask them, and check them. There's no other way. They made it so it's impossible. This was all calculated. This was, Schumer and company, Obama and company, Biden and company, all of them. Democrats have fought for the protection of illegals who snuck into the U.S., and they say they should not be deportated. That we should stop all deportations at once and look at the individual case. Not enough lawyers. Not enough to do it. You couldn't do it. Not enough time in the universe. You're here illegally. You didn't come in through the system. You didn't announce at the gate who you were. And you're here. You didn't show up for a hearing. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Adios. Democrats fighting tooth and nail about voter ID, and they're going to lose that one. That's going to be a killer in the voting booth for them. That's a big one because over 70% of the Democratic base wants voter ID. And you have the Democrat. Well, we do have voter ID. You do have voter ID. No, we want a secured voter ID. And most people have ID that they can use to vote, and it's perfectly fine. We want a step further that they're citizens. That's all. Not asking much. Every other country does it. Time we do it too. And yet they don't want to do it. Why? It's not stopping anyone from voting that wants to vote, that's a citizen that has a right to vote. The excuse is that they said, well, married women who changed name, that's not even an issue. It's been a lie. It's an embarrassment that they would even use that. An embarrassment. Democrats have shut the government down twice now. The first time they relented and signed the big beautiful bill. And this time, President Trump stepped in, said pay TSA. And there are no changes to ICE and its procedures. Nothing. The Democrats got nothing and used TSA as a means to punish everyone. And they got it in the news, and they got coverage, and the media ran with it. And yeah, there were some delays. They weren't that bad. I had people that were flying around the country, and they go, well, it was about 15, 20 minutes longer. Some normally busy airports, Las Vegas, New York, Los Angeles. But even there, like I had people that flew out of Denver, and, TSA weren't back in business yet, but they went through in 35 minutes. In one case, it was like minutes. So a lot of media hype going after Trump. I mean, the media hates Trump so much that they're willing to hate America too. And they hate America for voting for Trump. And that's what we're dealing with. All right, we're 22 minutes into the show already. I'm going to talk about Trump had given 48 hours to Iran. That time is almost up. They're playing the Jeopardy music in the background. Trump has stated that if Iran does not open the Strait of Hormuz by Tuesday, he will order the destruction of primary infrastructures in Iran that are still standing and working. Liberal media touting that America is failing in this fight and we are running out of military assets to continue. Cheering for the other side. And yes, we have to reorganize and reposition our assets. It happens in any conflict. But the continued absurdity of the media going after Trump and going after our military. You had people saying that, on their podcasts. These aren't mainstream people, but these are fringe people like myself. Saying that the military is disobeying orders, they're not following orders. And people are believing that. And you have the media behind all this. And you had, our representatives that said, don't obey, you don't have to listen to, illegal orders. And, just putting that thought even out there. And our military people knew this. You're schooled on that. You are schooled pretty well on what's a legal order and who can give it to you. So, but the media just loved going after that. And the liberal media hasn't said what a great, what a great effort by our military to protect itself and others in this conflict, and that the sacrifices that these military personnel and others around the world are doing, and nothing, just just crap on them. The liberal media just craps on America and anything to do with America. They crapped on us even when Biden was there to go, see, this is why Biden, this is why we need these things. This is why students shouldn't have to pay their loans. People should have free housing. It's my next little tidbit. America bad. America bad. I think that's going to be the thrust of the political agenda going out by the GOP against the Democrats come the midterms. Midterms that, all we hear are the negative. You even had that moron Tim Walz saying that them going after, the Trump went after me. He picked on me. No, Trump didn't pick on you. Federal government was saying that there were problems in your state when Biden was there with fraud. No one's picking on any of these states because they're blue state. They're red states that have fraud. They'll be discovered too. Tim Walz, his administration just allowed it. And now we just want to know, did he know of it? I mean, he's already made statements. I'm responsible. I'm the one. Buck stops with me. And I respect that. But I would have also respected if he would have, when he was told of the fraud, act upon it. Just like Gavin Newsom. Biggest turd in the diaper of America is Gavin Newsom. And how the media is still trying to press him as the heir apparent to the DNC's choosing him. I don't think he'd win a primary in his state. I honestly don't. He's just been terrible. His state will have the largest amount of fraud. I mean, it's also the largest economy in the country. I would expect that he'll have the largest amount of fraud. But he never did anything about it. Remember the railroad, the high-speed railroad to Las Vegas, $130 billion. Nothing's been done with it. The tunnel projects, nothing. The dams that were about to fail and the government had to give them all the money to fix their dams, and nothing. Clean up your environment so you don't have these big fires. Nothing. The Democrats cry and scream and rant and rave, but offer absolutely no solutions. That's going to be the thrust of the GOP media campaign against them. And it starts soon. It should have been starting before, but they're being distracted by the shutdown and things, And whether or not a Democrat or a Republican, if they're on vacation, goes to Disney or goes to a baseball game, that's that's immaterial. I don't like that they go, well, Lindsey Graham is in Disney World. All right. This guy's over, this Democrat's over here, in a restaurant or, On vacation with his family. Yeah, okay. He could be on vacation with his family. I can't say I would not have done the same thing. So that's the how hypocritical the Democrats are. That all they do is complain. All they do is cry and offer no solutions. Their solution to the immigration situation, which they had said there is no border problem, there is no immigration problem because you never stopped anyone. So it wasn't a problem to you, is let them all stay. They put their big toe here and, let them stay. No, it doesn't work that way. All right. A House Democrat is facing backlash for comparing evictions to violence. Representative Anna Presley, a Democrat from Massachusetts. If I've ever seen her, she's the woman that has no hair. Said in a video posted to social media on Thursday, and we have to do everything in our power to prevent it, to prevent evictions. It degrades the health of communities. There is a great stigma associated with it, she continued. Housing is a human right. No, it really is not, just so you know. It's not a human right. And her husband makes his money from renting apartments. How many people has he evicted? I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I did not research that. But her husband has a growing real estate portfolio, but he rents houses out in high-end areas where that's not really a problem. Now, Presley is a progressive lawmaker, and they say a member of the squad. She is a member of the squad, and she has long advocated rent cancellation legislation. Now, you rent an apartment, you sign a lease, you agree to make payments. I understand that. And I understand that there are tough times and stuff happens. And in most states, it's really hard to get people evicted. I know some states, it's in some cities and localities, it's really not difficult to have it done. But her idea of canceling, if I had a business, what would be my incentive to buy an apartment building and fix it up and rent it out? What would be her husband's incentive if there was rent cancellation? One of his people loses their job, you don't have to pay rent. And, but you signed a document saying you'd pay rent. You understood the risks. It's the same thing like kids that took student loans out. They took the student loan out, they signed the papers, and then, they turn around, I don't want to pay this, I can't get a job. Well, I mean, if you would, studying dance art and how it affects rain, in Africa, yeah, well, Welcome to Waffle House's family of employees. So if you took money to go to college that had no life skills involved with it for you to take and bring to a company and go, this is what I can bring to the table. Well, good, I'll start you off at $15,000. And they go, well, I have a master's. In what? Criminology? Become a cop. I took it in psychology. That was another big one. These kids went to school and I'm a psychology major. Well, go sit in the corner and try to figure out where you're going. Pay your bill. These people think that you just get away without paying for things. And boy, there were times where I felt the same way. I wish I didn't have to pay things. I get that. I don't sit there and go, can't wait to see that car insurance or my homeowner's insurance come. Can't wait. Yeah. Being an adult sucks. Being responsible sucks. Keeping your word sucks. Keeping to the terms of an agreement, sucks. I get it. But you still got to do it. And Ayanna Pressley, Democrat from Massachusetts, also has been on the record in February comparing immigration and customs ICE agents to members of the Ku Klux Klan. That not insanity? Is that not craziness? So, if you want to see Representative Presley, Democrat from Massachusetts, go look her up. She's a piece of cake. She's something else. And now a pair of Democrat lawmakers slam the blockade of fuel to Cuba and compares it with it as economic bombing. Okay. Another member of the squad, Jay Powell from Democrat from Washington, and Jonathan Jackson, Democrat from Illinois, said after a congressional delegation returned from Cuba that the U.S. economic restriction on the island represents an illegal U.S. blockade of fuel and effectively an economic bombing of the infrastructure of that country. And it's been the longest embargo ever in the history of the United States. Well, why didn't Jimmy Carter not fix that problem? Why didn't Bill Clinton not fix that problem? Why did Obama not fix the problem even after he visited the island? In 2 terms, he didn't do it. Didn't fix the problem. 2 terms, Clinton didn't fix the problem. In 1 term, Biden, why didn't he fix that? The last 20 years, 16 of those years were run by Democrats. why didn't he end the embargo? Why didn't in 16 years the Democrats not end the embargo that you call illegal? So Jayapal and Jackson, you are morons. You are historic morons. All right? This is cruel and collective punishment on Cuba and has produced permanent damage. It must stop immediately. Well, it can stop immediately. Cuba, change your ways. How has communism worked for you? Huh? How's that worked for you, Cuba? How has your alliance with the Soviet Union worked for you? How about your alliances with socialist countries and dictators in South America work for you? The handwriting's on the wall. And again, these are going to be the facts that are going to be pointed out in the election. Now, for her in Washington, she'll get elected. In Illinois, he'll get elected. But when they start showing this is the Democrats' agenda, these are the Democrats. People in close races, Democrats, they're not going to get elected because they'll be pointing to these people and they go, these are the people that approved them going there and approved of what they're saying. And these people are going to have to go on the record then and go, no, I didn't say that. And they fall into the trap. And that trap is set. And all these people are doing, all these stupid progressives is dooming Democrats. They don't care. See, they don't care about the Democrats. They want more progressives. That's why your Schumers are running scared. Your Schiffs are running scared. Your Pelosi's, who she doesn't know what day it is. And Waters, she's just trying to erase her tracks because her days are numbered. So, Jayapal and Representative Gregory Meeks out of New York, we know who that piece of shit is, introduced legislation to block federal funds for military actions against Cuba without congressional approval. There are no military actions, you moron. There's a treaty that says there'll be no military action against Cuba. So what they're trying to say, well, having Guantanamo is a military action against Cuba. No, that's part of the treaty we have with Cuba. These people are so stupid. They think Americans are stupid. And that their people will just believe every freaking word out of their mouths. These clowns need to be called out on this and taken to the woodshed and spanked. All right, 45 minutes. I'm 15 minutes over because I got into rants. But everyone, be safe. I hope you had a safe Easter and Passover and whatever you celebrate. Please think to give to a charity. I can understand you not wanting to. You know, there's a lot of risks involved giving to a charity. You find out later on that it wasn't a good charity. Do your research. You reach out to the charity. Don't have them reach out to you. Don't become a victim trying to help victims. If you're not interested in doing that, please think of giving to a food bank. They always need food, and they can always use a monetary donation to expedite an issue right in front of them that moment. And it helps locally. You could actually help people. And I could hear people go, well, John, they put themselves into that situation. Yes. Yes, you do this without any strings attached. And if you really want to think of something, if there are children involved, did they have anything to do with their parents or their mother or their father's actions? Did they? No. So think about that. Say a prayer. Prayer does work, no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And with that, I'm going to be saying it's Monday. I'll be at Socrates Station tonight in Socrates, South Carolina. That's between Murrells Inlet and Myrtle Beach. Great food, great people, great location. They're not a sponsor, but they are friends. So, Socrates Station in South Carolina, in the Myrtle Beach area. Lots of good places to eat in the area. Socrates Station is up on the top of that list. All right, everyone, be safe as I fade to